I like, click, subscribe, do all that. You gotta know what time it is. It's Netflix time. This is called The Strange House. When a big city family moves to a remote town, the two young brothers and their new friends try to solve the menacing mystery that haunts their home. Came out last year, it's about an hour 39 minutes. Spoiler alert, let's get it. So here we had a family coming from the city, arriving to their new house. That's Hendrik, Sandy, and the little kid is Eddie. Eddie's got a fascination with snails and shit. This guy named Mr. Rocky's a realtor, and he's the one that welcomes him into the neighborhood. Henry didn't want to come. He didn't want to give up the big city life. He has to come out here to this house that's raggedy as fuck on the outside, but I guess it's fairly decent on the inside. It definitely puts you in that 80s type atmosphere. Like if you've seen the movie It Follows, or the Netflix series Stranger Things, when it comes to the music, it's on point with that shit. So anyway, they getting all situated in the house. Then he sees a picture of the family that used to stay there. This guy Rocky whispered to Henry about some ghost that used to live here or some shit. This lady looking out the window like, oh no, new neighbors. Alright, let's get to some plot now. They inspect every room of the house except for the attic. And you think to yourself, if you're just buying a new house, you want to see everything about it. But bottom line is they ain't checked the attic. Now look down there. That's salt on the ground, which this motherfucker licks off the damn ground. The door opens by itself and Eddie just starts talking to somebody up there, but nobody's even up there. Like this shit is just normal for him to be talking to nobody. Sandy replaces the picture on the wall and puts her family up there, and the middle is the father, who he died a while ago. They didn't explain why yet. He hates it here already. He wants to be back in the city. And on top of that, the Wi-Fi people won't be there for a week, so he can't use his computer or anything. Mom's like, you just gotta go out and enjoy nature, meet your neighbors and stuff. But the reason she's even out here because she works on caves and mine shafts and shit. Now, I'm not even sure of what she does. I mean, if she's finding gold or finding artifacts, who the hell knows? Well, anyway, Henry goes back upstairs. He sees the doors open to the attic. But he just looks up and that's it. All I can say is on those tense moments, it gives you that 80s field music. That shit's just great. So anyway, he wakes up out the bed. He sees Eddie just writing on the wall. I'm like, what the fuck? He taps on Eddie. Eddie just goes to the bathroom, but really he's been sleepwalking. But as he look over towards the wall, he was drawing some letters on the wall. At first it looked like snails. Well, anyway, he goes outside the next day and explores the town. He goes to a bakery, picks up like 6 rolls, and everybody's just staring at him like he's a fucking millionaire or something. I'm like, turn your head back around, nigga. Everybody gets back home to eat, and Sandy's like, come on, let's go meet the new neighbors. So she goes and knocks on the neighbor's door, being hospitable and whatnot. And she's like, well, I'm surprised they got somebody else to stay in that house. And then she goes back in the house and closes the door in their face. I'm like, wow. So later on, Henry's about to take Eddie for a ride. Then he jumps out the wagon and starts staring at a rock. And it's the tombstone of Ronald and Ralph Polsman. So yeah, they got a cemetery right across the street from their house. That's not some creepy shit at all, right? So while that's going on, Mom goes to work working in the mine shaft. I can't front, it does look pretty awesome inside. So anyway, they ride over to the nicest spot in the area. It's got a bunch of people there. And he meets this guy named Fritz who talks like a fucking Lord of the Rings character. Trust me, you'll laugh when you hear his voice. They got this random ass bully picking on him for no reason just because, oh, he's a city boy. We're in the county, we come in, we represent. You always gotta have that asshole that thinks he's tough. Somehow after they leave, they all end up chilling together. So the conversation comes up about the Polsmans because they live in that same house. Turns out those kids used to live there in their house. The story is they got poisoned by mushroom soup by their mother, and then they were died, and then the mother hung herself or some shit like that. Now he said that's how the story was reported on the news. So after that, they go home to wash dishes, and Eddie said he sees some lady out there fucking with the cemetery, but Henry didn't see him, so we thought he was hallucinating at this point. Later on, he gets on his computer because it's working now. Turns out the story Fritz told him was true. Or at least that's what they printed up anyway. So anyway, Sandy goes back to the wall and, wait a minute, how the hell that picture get back up there? Then all of a sudden we see the spooky graveyard. Spooky! Henry wakes up out of his sleep. And what the fuck is wrong with Eddie's eyes, yo? Look at this shit. He was speaking some demonic language before Henry took him off the bed. And he was drawing more shit on the wall, and he came up with the conversation that it's called Gobi. But what the hell is Gobi? So apparently when he told Fritz, Fritz was like, he was speaking some type of Slovakian language. And he knows this girl named Ida who speaks it. So she becomes a regular character after this. So they all get together to solve this mystery. Look how Henry and Ida are looking at each other. Love interest. And then come these goofy motherfuckers again trying to start shit. And for no reason, just punches him in his face. Just so rude for no reason. Fritz keeps fainting at the sight of blood and shit. Fried your ass with one punch. Anyway, he goes back home, he's got to babysit his brother. And he's just been on some other shit lately. So he gets on the phone, start talking to his boo. He got the digits already. And he goes to sleep in his brother's room to make sure he doesn't sleepwalk again. Then all of a sudden, Ida comes to the door, is like, can I come in? And she walks all through. Now I ain't gonna front, their chemistry with the dialogue is kind of off, but that's not the real important thing. The more important thing is the story. Then all of a sudden, Fritz shows up. And so they figured out the word bogey stands for mother or murder or something like that. And they think one of the brothers is possessing Eddie. So at night to call him out, they're gonna hold a seance. Yeah, they said, fuck the Ouija board. We doing this shit old school. With just the candles, nigga. Then all of a sudden, Eddie is now Ralph again. And now if they have Ida, she could translate for him. So Ida grabs his hand, and he leads her to the attic. And there's a door up here. What's behind the door? A bunch of old crazy equipment. It looks like a green room. But apparently Ralph and Roland's stuff was still up here. It was like, oh shit. Then they find this book that has a tape in it. And then Ida's about to cross the salt. You don't do that. Ralph, aka Eddie's going crazy. This nigga takes a picture of the room shaking. And when the picture appeared to look like Ralph, I was like, oh shit. Then it completely completely faded away into nothing. I'm like, what in all the fuck? So after they put Eddie to bed, they was like, yo, what the fuck just happened? So they're looking at the book and the tape trying to make heads or tails of things. And they about to kiss right out the blue, then all of a sudden the doorbell rings. It's Mr. Rocco ruining the mood. He's looking for your moms and all that. And then on top of that, he being all nosy, like, what are you kids doing? What's going on here? Hey, mind your fucking business, bitch. And they're like, you know he's trying to give your mom the business. Henry like, man, I ain't trying to hear that shit. So anyway, they watched the film. It's a film of them moving in together and all that. And keep in mind, the incident where the kids got killed, this took place 40 years ago. So it literally took place in 1980. So this is going by real time right now. This is actually 2020. The only significant thing to take away from the whole video is this snail pendant. So they putting pieces of the puzzle together about that. And for some reason, they seem to think their next door neighbor did it. So they're going to go to that house and look for clues. She's not home, so they're going to slide under there while Fritz is keeping an eye lookout. While they're doing some investigating, Miss Sloan is coming back home. While inside, they find a whole bunch of jars of what the fuck. I don't even know what it is. Fritz has tried to distract her from getting in the house, but he does a terrible job at it. All he says is hello a couple times. I'm like, yo, start up a conversation or something. Then she hears a drop of glass and she hurries up and gets in the house. Them niggas trying to sneak out, but then Henry goofy ass got caught. And he doesn't beat around the bush. He flat out just asks about the murders. I'm like, really? She's like, I wasn't even with him long enough to do that shit. I was a maid for only a week. She's like, yo, get the hell out of my house. He goes back in the house to check on Eddie. Somebody creeping around lighting candles in the cemetery. Then all of a sudden you get this creepy ass image of somebody standing in the attic. Then we see the boys that were killed in the house 40 years ago surrounded by snails. Then her head pops up. What the fuck? But Henry was dreaming that shit the whole time. Later on, Henry chills out with his boo and they're about to kiss again. But before that happens, Henry's face turns into Ralph. It's like, what the fuck? She saw the ghost in him, was like, oh no. Then she gets Fritz and them back to the house. It's like, look, we're going to look after you tonight because we think the older brother is going to try to inhabit your body. Which when they woke up is exactly what ended up happening. They chased him around but then Fritz sprinkled around his potato chips or whatever, and the ghost wouldn't get past it because the potato chips has salt in it, so that's the reason for that. She's like, I'm gonna get that ghost out of him. And she just flat out kissed him. And what do you know, the power of love turned her back to normal. Sure, let's roll with that. Well, anyway, mom comes home drunk as fuck. Because, you know, all she does is work in caves. So after they put her to bed, they try to solve the mystery. And for what information they're gathering, they're starting to think that the mom did not kill the kids. Wait, next day, mom's getting her ready for some type of dance-off club they're going to. But it's not even that. It's more like a little shindig. As Fritz gets his girl, he's like, yeah, what's goody? Then you got this guy over here spiking punches. Like, there you go, put some hair in your chest, little nigga. Out here getting hella furred. So while Ritz and Frida are chilling, this nigga Henry thinks he found a murder suspect and sneaks into his damn car. So somehow throughout their clues, they figured since Miss Sloan didn't do it, it was probably another maid that took their place. So they go over to her and find out who the other maid is. Meanwhile, Henry gets out the car and heads straight to the house. He sneaks in to investigate. Meanwhile, Rocky's still trying his hand with his goofy ass. He thought he was getting a dance, and that old man stole her away from him. You suck at life. So while he's snooping around, this motherfucker sees Ralph through the mirror. Ghost. And he ends up finding some key letters. Meanwhile, Fritz is going to a local police saying that Henry was kidnapped, but they're not listening to him. These letters just happen to be apology letters talking about she's sorry what they did to the kids. I'm like, oh shit. He runs out the house after this lady pops up. But hold on, look at her neck. She's got a snail necklace on. He tried to run outside and turn up. Mr. Rocco was there, and he's like, wait a minute, go back inside, mom, I'll handle this. Wait a minute, so that's Mr. Rocco's mom? But he doesn't handle it. He lets him run away. He runs into Ida because Ida was looking for him, and they like, look, we gotta hide, we gotta get up out of here. You know, he's got the letter, so he coming at her with a shotgun. He got that big pump. Boomstick, evil dead, groovy time on that ass. Well, anyway, mom finally gets the news that Hendrik's missing, and the police finally listen to Frederick, and they're like, yes, let's go. He's looking at his girl like, yeah, you about to get the business when I get back. She's like, motherfucking right, you already know what time it is. Meanwhile, they enforce running away from Mr. Rocco with the shotgun, and they run into a cave, which happened to be the same caves that her mom works on. Bottom line, he chased them, they slid down a hole, his foot gets stuck in the water, she's gonna go get some help. His foot is stuck in between some rocks or something like that, but he's just standing up. I'm like, dude, can't you just move your foot? I'm coming back for you, baby. You better not die on me. No, I'm just standing here look cool, even though I should probably be able to walk the fuck out. Anyway, the police get to the house. Grandma comes to the door talking about he can't hurt those children again. What do you mean again? And they notice she got that snail necklace. This nigga came back, knowing these fucked up police there. He tried to run, but he got boxed in actually by the bully. So he did help out, but only because his father told him to. Ida gets to him and tell him they're in the cave. He's basically hanging on for dear life. Look at that ghost Ralph like, man, I guess it's it if I can see you fully now. What the fuck? The next day, oh, they look at all sad. What happened? No, don't tell me, Harry's done. Hooray, he's alive. They saved him in the nick of time. Ida's like, oh, you definitely getting the business after all this is said and done. Then mom starts talking. She starts going on and on about the kids, incriminating herself in every single way. He's like, man, shut up. And Eddie is still inhabited by the ghost speaking to them, yo. This shit is crazy. Then afterwards, everything all honky-dory. They still ain't clean up the fucking front of the house, though. Right across the street to the cemetery, they clean that shit up, though. How you clean up the stuff across the street from you, but not your fucking house? So the thing was, the lady didn't mean to poison the children. She meant to poison her husband for cheating on him or something like that. But the children ended up drinking the soup. And they see the spirits and now they rested in peace finally. So they're pretty much just gonna leave Eddie alone. I mean, because they pretty much can inhabit him anytime they fucking want. They did it the entire movie. And that's The Stranger House for you. I wouldn't say it's a typical film, but it's cool, you know what I'm saying? If nothing else, I say watch it for the music, a little bit of the storyline. It gives you that 80s vibe, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, if you like the music for Stranger Things and the other movie It Follows, then you'll like this shit too. The Stranger House on Netflix. Check it out. Like, click, subscribe, do all that. You already know what time it is. Click the easy, mister. Big. You got that slogan.